Hey guys, welcome back to a new YouTube. Today I'm going to be doing a leg workout, specifically a booty, glute, whatever you want to call it workout. And I'm going to do a voiceover and give you guys some tips and tricks on how to really activate your glutes. So I think a common mistake when people train legs is they do a lot of quad activation, which hinders their activation of their hamstrings and their glutes. So I'm going to show you some tips and tricks. It just sounds funny when you said on how to actually activate your glutes and your hamstrings and to take the tension away from your quads to really get the work in the right area. So stay tuned for that, and I'm excited to show you guys how to activate them booty. Alright, so this is the only time in this entire video or entire workout that you're going to be doing squats, and it's just to warm up your glutes. But I do these really wide, and I push my knees out while I drive down along with while I push up, and it's going to put all the tension on your glutes. When I do this exercise, I don't feel any of the tension or any kind of fatigue on my quads at all. And then I'm going to switch into some curtsy lunges, and again, I keep really low so I don't come completely up, and I shift all my weight back. And you're just going to feel it really just on your glutes. If you're feeling it on your quads, focus more on shifting your weight back as opposed to letting your weight fall forward. A lot of the times, if you let your weight fall forward, you're going to feel it a lot more on your quads than you are going to feel it on your glutes. So stay nice and low to keep the tension on your glutes the entire time. And again, with this exercise, I don't feel it in my quads at all. So this is the first exercise, and it's going to be stiff leg deadlifts. So because I'm really trying to target my hamstrings and glutes, I like to put 2 5-pound plates underneath the toes, and this makes all the weight stay on your heel, which is going to allow you to stretch a little bit further, keep a little bit more tension on your hamstring, and really just focus on when you drive up, squeezing your glutes, but not thrusting your pelvis forward. So you're going to feel a lot of the tension in the glute, but without actually doing a full pelvis push forward. So don't make your butt completely scrunched forward. The same thing, the only thing that I would recommend doing differently than I'm demonstrating here is keeping your head more neutral on the stiff leg deadlifts. Then we're going to move on to the sumos. So this might look like a squat to you, but the way I'm performing it, I'm not feeling any tension on my quads. So you want to keep your back straight, just like on the stiff legs. You want to push all your weight back, and when you come up, you do want to thrust your glutes forward. So I'm just going to show you this setup here. I like to do a really wide stance, forcing my legs outwards, and again, keep your back straight, and when you come up, drive with the glutes and push forward. So you should feel this all in your glutes and nothing else. If you're feeling in your quads, focus more on driving from the heel of your foot, pushing your weight back, and really thrusting your hips forward, and that's going to lead your pelvis to tilt forward and scrunching your booty. So that's the key thing with that. Then I move on to reverse lunges. So if you do these reverse lunges, you won't feel them in your quads, especially if you keep the tension on your glute the whole time. So the biggest thing is to put all the weight on the heel of the front foot. So that back foot is basically just coming up, touching the grass, and then going back down. No weight is actually being transferred onto it. All of the weight is being on that standing leg and focused right on your glute. So you're going to keep digging in on the heel, and then you're going to feel it all in the glute as opposed to feeling in the quad, which you might feel if you do forward lunges or if you do walking lunges. So again, light on the foot moving, and keep all the weight on the heel of the foot that is standing, and don't come all the way up. This will force the tension to stay right on your glutes. If you come all the way up, you might transfer some of the work onto your quads, which is what you don't want. And this is just showing you the front. And if you find that you have problems with balance, try keeping your core tight throughout the movement, and it should help you with the balance. You don't want to bring your knee all the way down to the turf. Bring it down as low as you can without touching it. If it touches once in a while, that's fine. But for the majority of it, try not to allow your leg to actually touch the bottom. And you can do these weighted or non-weighted. I'd prefer to do them weighted because it adds a little bit more resistance, but if you feel like you need to do them body weight, that's fine. Then we're going to do step ups. These look a little strange, but basically you're keeping the weight on the heel of your foot like always. The leg that is moving, you're going to put it back on the ground, but just on the tiptoe, so you're really not transferring any weight onto that leg. It's basically just keeping you balanced, and all of the weight is going to be on your glute. And as you drive up, you're going to thrust your hips forward, which is going to put even more tension and squeeze and work on your glutes further. So again, this is another thing that's tricky with the balance. So try hard to keep your core tight, and as you drive up, thrust your hips forward. I could even be thrusting my hips further forward to get a better contraction of my glutes. And the leg that is moving, when you come down, just stay on your tiptoes. Don't make your leg go flat. Then we're going to go on to good morning. So these are really, really effective movement for your hamstrings and your glutes. And if they're done properly, you should only feel the tension on your hamstrings and your glutes, specifically glutes, the way I'm doing them. So what you want to focus on is squeezing your glutes to the top, sticking your bum out, and as you stick it out, still keeping the tension and keeping a slight bend. And all of the weight, again, is going to be on your heel. So basically with all these movements, since we're glute focused, hamstring focused, you're going to want to keep the weight right on your heel. And most of these exercises you're going to feel most of the tension actually in your glutes as opposed to anything else. And that's what we want. That's going to grow your glute muscle, but it's going to keep your quads small. And that is what we want. We want to grow the glutes, but without growing the quads. And now we're going to move on to the hip thrusters. Do these hip thrusters a few different ways. I like to do them on this assisted lying leg curl machine just because I find it's a lot easier to set it up that way. And again, the movements can be a lot smaller when you do it on the machine, but it's still going to be very effective because you're keeping the tension on the top half, which is going to hit that glute hammy tendon really well. So again, keep the weight on your heels. You can see my toes aren't even touching the ground, and you want to come up and squeeze as hard as you can. Really drive with your hamstrings. So squeeze your hamstrings and glutes and then drive up. Is glute kickbacks. This is a butt blaster machine. Not every gym has this. So if you're going to do cable kickbacks or whatever it is, just make sure that you're really keeping the tension on your glute and not on your lower back. I think that's a common mistake when people do glute kickbacks, is that they'll allow their lower back to take the work, and that's not what you want to do. So if that's the case, I suggest lowering the weight to make sure the resistance stays on your glute. And again, I'm squeezing and then pushing my leg up, squeezing and then pushing my leg up. I mean, it's going to keep all the tension right on the glutes. So that is basically how you can grow your glutes without growing your quads. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope you liked the video, and please subscribe.